if you want to live together with others and celebrate and forgive, the ones that are going to most be open to you are the poor, because other people are so entrapped by what they have and goals, and I could be entrapped by that too. One of the needs that came out in the city where I was that people who had children with disabilities were not satisfied with the institutional system. They wanted their children to live in places where their own gifts were called forth. So we did this thing called Providence Community, and we were at it for 21 years. She was abandoned at birth, so she came, and I lived with her 18 years. She's now 50 years old, we call. When she had a serious operation about a year ago, even though I'm here now, I went. He said to my sister, I want you to stay for 20 hours. And he said, you know, doctor, they're really big on the HIPAA law. Like they keep saying, I am not this, I am not this. And he looked at me and he said, sister, it's obvious you two love each other. And he said, and she's at ease with you and you're at ease with her. You can see it all over the place. But he says, and you know what else, sister? They didn't show up. So I did stay 20 hours, but it was great.
My name is Sister Joe McWine, and I belong to the Green Nuns of the Sacred Heart. In those tiny rural communities, people really look after each other. You know. And we did some bartering with the Amish people, the hospital barters with the Amish.
And what do they get from the Amish?
Well, almost anything. Sometimes they would make a desk for you. One of our OB doctors, they would only come to the hospital if that was something really critical, going bad with the baby. So someone gave him a pig. So one day and say, any of you farmers want a pig? I have this nice little pig.
And I was visiting my brother, and I was reading the National Catholic Reporter, and there was this little ad in there, and it said, volunteers needed in Haiti. So then I came back to the mother house, and I was reading the America magazine, and the same ad appeared. And I said, well, 2 times, maybe I should pay attention to that. So I called the number, and my first question was, do you have an age requirement? The person kind of stopped a bit, and then she said, well, if it's not a problem for you, I don't think it would be a problem for us. So I gave her a little bit of my background, and she said, then we met and talked, and the decision was I would come down to Haiti. I was surprised at myself that I was this comfortable being there, because I didn't know the language. I'm not a linguist. I had been in Peru for 3 years, and I made do. As a nurse, you can always roll your eyes and shrug your shoulders and point, and you can get a lot accomplished. So I didn't feel uncomfortable knowing that I was probably not going to learn the language very well, but I knew I would try, because I do feel it's important that you speak or are able to communicate. You know, I've had my experiences with poverty, having been in Peru, but I have to say I never saw the type of poverty that you see in Haiti, and I marvel at the ability of the Haitian people to live in such dire poverty, and I mean, where you never see anything colorful, but they make their color. Their fruits and vegetables are always piled very well, and they have problems, many problems, but I think their love of life, and even throughout the earthquake and the times following it, you heard mostly were alleluias, and you always knew there was a bit of a little tremble going on, because somebody would start singing, and that's really kind of the noise that you hear day in and day out, are people singing, the children. There's a real sense among themselves that everybody can sing. Me being tone deaf, I figure, or just not able to do any of that. We're really astounded, not only astounded, but so pleased the way the children would just burst into song.
So I said, I'll try it. Who will hire me at 80? So I got hired at 80, and I worked in this program in Trenton, and it turned out that almost everybody was poor. And I mean terribly poor. You know, they lived on probably $75 a month for everything. So they were very, very open, very matter of fact. But I feel that that was one of the most important jobs that I had. They were all service-oriented. They were all too emotionally poor. Certainly putting families back on track or blending families, or even one-on-one counseling. I also did spiritual direction. Nothing grabbed me like their stories of so much pain, and yet they could be so cheerful, you know, and be thankful for what they had and the gifts they thought we were giving them. I mean, it wasn't anything big or anything marvelous that we did, but I truly loved them. And one woman comes to mind that I will never forget her, and I asked her one time if I could use her story. So she said yes. And the woman's name was Octavia. And she told me this, that one weekend when she went home, she had absolutely nothing in her cupboards that she could eat. And she looked in the fridge, and she says there was just a little bit of milk in there, and all her cupboards were bare, Mother Hubbard. And she said, I prayed to Jesus, and I said to him, look, I don't have anything. And she went and looked in her purse, emptied her purse out on the table. She had 4 pennies. And she said, I can't last the weekend like this. You've got to help me. I trust you. And she said that evening was a Friday evening at 6:15 or so, between 15 and 30. The doorbell rang, and she went, and she said it was a deacon from her church. And he said, Sister, I brought you dinner. Ooh, I'm going to get filled up. And she said, oh, I invited him in, and he sat down. And she said, I didn't tell him that anything except that I was hoping for something that evening, and God answered my prayer. Only she talks to Jesus like he's her next door neighbor. And so she said when he got up, he said, bless you, sister, and they said prayer together. And she said when she looked down, there was $50 under her dinner. And this is what she said. I knew you wouldn't fail me, Jesus. It struck me so. And I thought to myself, wow, if I could ever have faith like that.